out of 4 specials in 1 year. Take that, Larry the Cable Guy. Boston will never be the same. I BS'd my way into a Harvard frat house. I trolled for hot nerds outside the MIT bathroom. I considered running for governor. And you don't even want to know what I did on that park bench. Why 4 specials in 1 year? 3 words, Bristol Palin's chin.
Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, the hilarious Kathy Griffin.
To Girl Down, Girl Down. All right, now I admit this is a drag queen expression, so any drag, not that there are any gay people here. What, there's a couple? Yeah. Anyway, I love this expression because it's when a drag queen falls off her heel. And then my gays and I make fun of her and just say, girl down. So we've all had those kind of moments. Anyway, welcome. We have so much to cover. I love your beautiful city, Boston. You live in one of the greatest cities in the world. You know it. You know it. We have to talk about Bristol Palin's chin. As you know, the Palin family, not big Kathy Griffin fans. And they think I'm like after their family, but I really don't give a shit about them. It's just that they're so f***ing funny. I mean, everything about them is funny. Oh, you betcha. So anyway, Sean Hannity, that f***ing tool, Sean Hannity asked Sarah Palin, what is it, how do you feel about comedian Kathy Griffin playing a version of you on Glee? And then Sarah Palin looked right in the camera, and it was so great because she goes, you know what? If Kathy Griffin wants to make fun of me, she shouldn't make fun of me and my family. She should come to Alaska and make fun of me. Come on, Kathy, you come to Alaska and make fun of me to my face. Come to Alaska, come to... All right. Great thing. Apparently, the research and development department of Team Griffin is more advanced than that of the Palin campaign, because what you guys know that dumb bitch doesn't even know is that not only did I go to Alaska, I went to Wasilla, I went to her house, knocked on her door with Levi Johnston. Television crew, so this was no secret. And I can also tell you, now that I've been on the Palin porch of the Palin compound, I could not see Russia. I looked and looked. I couldn't see any dancing Bolsheviks or caviar. I did not see 1 inch of Russia, so I don't know where she got that one. So. And by the way, I did leave her a note inviting her to my show in Anchorage. So I'm happy to go to Alaska and say it to her face. Done and done. All right, so no, because this time she's angry with me because I like to make fun of Bristol because that's sort of fun. But well, wait, Bristol, by the way, who, keep in mind, is 20 years old. So it's not like I'm making fun of a baby, like when Hasselbeck goes on The View and says I'm making fun of children. Bristol's 20 years old and made over $250,000 last year on her speaking tour, speaking about... You're good. You're good. Speeches about teen abstinence with the f***ing 2-year-old. That's funny. You guys made $250,000 when you were 20. And now she just bought a 4-bedroom house in Arizona, which she paid for cash. You know, like you guys when you were 20 and you bought that 4-bedroom house outright with cash, remember? Okay, so Bristol Palin has this brand new chin, and I swear to God, she looks like Jay Leno. Your very own Jay Leno from Andover, right? Andover? All right, but it's like she took a picture of Jay Leno, went to the dentist and said, can I have this? It's really, I mean, I'm just saying, it's like out there, but the comedy comes in her statement. So may I read you her statement directly? Okay. Got my little notes. Okay, so Bristol Palin said, I had corrective jaw surgery. Let's just take a minute. Not a chin implant, corrective jaw surgery. Yes, it improved the way I look, but this surgery was necessary for medical reasons. No, that's true. Like when I had my first facelift, it was because I was fighting scurvy. And when I had my eye job, it was because I had rickets. And it was for medical reasons, so my jaw and teeth could properly realign. Who did she blow last night? Oh, seriously. I got you, gays. I got you. I got you. Can I tell you some of my misadventures that have happened just since I arrived in Boston? Okay, great. So, you know, I'm a Chicagoan, so it's kind of similar, so I just love it here. All right, so I'm a big walker, right? I love to walk, and I love to eat. So it's a great food city, as you know. So I went to Pizzeria Regina, which... Great meal there, and then I dragged my friend Jack on a walk to Cambridge and back, and then I get the brilliant idea that I should be, because I'm single again, so I should pick up like a hot brainiac guy. So I don't know if you saw the picture that I twatted on my Twitter. You might want to check it out. Please follow me on Twitter because my twats really have a lot to say. My twat has always been busy, but now she's talking and traveling the world. She's like a Zagat guide for penises. Anyway, so I very proudly, because I have class, you might want to get out a notepad, I took a photograph of myself outside the MIT men's room. Because I thought, you know, eventually these guys got to come out and somebody will me. And then when I didn't get laid, I quickly went to Harvard. And, oh, I don't mean I'm Tyra and I went to Harvard. Like, I don't want to take a class, I just want to get laid. And so we were walking through the campus and handing out roofies, and then Tiffany said, well, you know, what should we say that we study here? Because I just kept saying, hi, I'm Kathy, I'm the new sophomore. And, which really no one bought. And then she said, what should we say as our major? And I just panicked and said, Bolivian literature. Sounded like something they would do. And we went to the t-shirt shop and just bought like 50 t-shirts. So now we're gonna go throughout the country and try to tell people we went to Harvard. Who's with me? Okay, good. Yes. And then when I got home, this is so corny, but I decided to watch The Town in the hotel again, whichever. I love that movie. I'm sorry. I love it. And it's not that I love Ben Affleck, I love his character. So now my new thing is maybe not a Harvard brainiac, maybe I need a up townie. So I'd like a townie like Ben Affleck in The Town, and somebody who's like, he's like a sensitive townie that murdered a couple people, but he feels bad, you know? So believe me, I have all sorts of Boston material that I've been working on since I got here a few days ago. All the local haunts I've been terrorizing, but, oh, terrorizing. Wait a minute. What about Bin Laden having all that porn? The idea that he is whacking off to the Kim Kardashian Ray J porn, but that is some funny shit. Oh, Kim, you are looking good today. Said, well, I was just wondering, were you born a bigot or did you grow into it? kind of feel like there's sort of, I call it fake Hollywood celebrity trouble and then real trouble. And in this one, I sort of got in real trouble. Now, because when we did the episode of the D-List where we were, doing whatever we could to have a rally to help repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we went to DC and I wanted to try to educate myself and not sound like a total dumbass. And so I did as much research as possible off camera. So that's where I got to sit down with your very own Barney Frank. Yes. Who's fighting the good fight against Don't Ask, Don't Tell and for other LGBT issues. Let me just say though, I still think he's a fake gay. I'm sorry, no. I have never seen a gay like that in my life, all right? He doesn't have the six-pack abs. I don't buy it. I think he's just doing it to get votes. I don't even think he's really gay. It's a sham. And first of all, I walked in there and he had never even heard of me. Girl down, girl down. And so I got invited to, as a +1, to not the fancy smancy White House Correspondents' Dinner, but kind of like the D-List one, which is, I think it's the radio and TV one or something. But I was all excited to go there, so I have a rented De La Renta gown, and I'm seeing all these senators and congresspeople, and it was very exciting to be in that environment. And I don't mean to sound like a tool, but for some reason, a lot of people wanted to take my picture. And here's what my theory. I think it's because what you should know is that Washington is really run by all of the gay assistants. So there's the good news. There's the good news. And often, the more right-wing or Republican the representative, the more gay and snappy their assistant is. And, so there's the good news. And of course, I really tried to be on good behavior because I really was somebody's +1, but I'm only human, and so I'm not really one to get into a fight with a famous person because I can't win. It's just me, right? So, but I was freaking all ears. I mean, if you watered them, they'd be a chia pet. I mean, they were like, I wasn't missing a beat. So I was being introduced to all these important people. I met Senator Lindsey Graham, who is not such a supporter of the LGBT issues. So I met him and we took a photo and I said, hey girl. And then, so I was pulled away from him and I thought, okay, stop it, Kathy, stop it, behave. And then, I swear to God, I did not plan this. So coincidentally, I'm getting on the escalator, and it was one of those 2-story escalators at the same time as Michelle Bachmann. Same time, thank you, exactly. I was like, and I'm an atheist, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. If you exist, you've really delivered. And I wasn't gonna say anything to her, but once again, I couldn't help but stare at her because I, of course, was remembering her post-State of the Union Tea Party rebuttal where she couldn't find the right camera. And remember, she was the one, and she's very pretty, and she was the one who did the whole rebuttal like this. Well, slavery didn't really happen. She's just, Oh, you know that she truly questions whether or not slavery happened. Anybody? Yeah, remember that when you're in the booth. Sorry, keep it light, Kathy, keep it light. Anyway, so I'm just... All right, so I went, I was just pretty much right next to her, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she must have thought I was Kathy Lee Gifford or something, because she clearly didn't know who I was, but she must have recognized me or something, and out of the blue, she turns to me and she says, oh my goodness, what are you doing here? Like that. And I wasn't gonna start anything, but I just looked at her, and then I noticed her assistant turned on a flip cam. Now, here's the deal. On My Life on the D-List, we didn't punk anybody. If somebody was going to be on the show, they signed a release, they wore a microphone pack, they knew when they were being filmed. I don't roll like that. I don't punk people. And so I thought it was kind of interesting that they would put on the flip cam and not ask permission or say what it was for. So I said, well, who's taping this? And she said, oh, that's somebody from my website. So I said, well, Congresswoman, I'm actually having a rally Friday in Freedom Plaza to help repeal the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. May I count on your support? predictably said, "Oh, no, I don't think so." So I look at the chick with the flip cam who doesn't have the smarts to turn it off. And I said, "Well, I was just wondering, were you born a bigot or did you grow into it?" Okay, so, are you ready for the answer? Well, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that. Can you imagine if someone accused you of being a bigot? I mean, it's right up there with freaking the N-word and everything else. At least you're gonna BS and backtrack or something like that. No. She just says, "Oh, that's a good question." So then, I could not believe my good fortune because it was on tape. I was so excited. Plus, I look good. I was in hair and makeup. And so then, I don't know what came over me. Like, I lost my mind. And I think because I was on Law & Order once, I thought I was an attorney. I really lost it because I actually said, "Let me rephrase." Like I'm the freaking good wife or some shit, you know what I mean? And I said, "Well, do you feel that you were born a bigot or do you feel it's more environmental?" Because you know that's always their argument about gay people is it's environmental. And then I thought, okay, give her another chance. And then she goes, "I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one." All right. So this is how Washington rolls, right? By the time I was at the top of the 2-story escalator, there was a guy there from either Reuters or the AP who had a little tape recorder. And he goes, "Is it true that you just confronted Michelle Bachmann on an escalator?" I was in heaven. I said, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I told her about a rally I'm having to help repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell." And I asked her if she was born a bigot or she just grew into it. And you know what she said? She said it was a good question. She was going to get back to me. Then I asked her if she thought it was genetic or environmental. And she said she'd think about it. I go, "It's cash, because guess what? When the show starts, you and I are going to make it rain. Who's in?" Okay, you want to hear the behind the scenes from this year's New Year's Eve with your very own Anderson Cooper? Oh, you know that you do. All right, so here's the deal. At this point, he's like a superhero. He's not even a person anymore. It's ridiculous. When did you see him when he went to Haiti and he picked up the bloody kid and jumped over the barricade and saved him? I mean, it's like ridiculous. He might as well have a freaking cape and, you know. So, of course, because he's gorgeous and he's smart, I have to give him shit every chance I get. I live for it. My goal is to get him fired. That's my goal. And you should know that when he's in the middle of one of his really serious shows, I will text him during the commercial and just say things like, "Stop bothering me." Or my favorite is to text him in a commercial break and say, "You look a little chubby." Which kills him. It kills him. All right, so I take New Year's Eve on CNN way too seriously. For me, it's like I'm Hugh Jackman hosting the Oscars. And usually Anderson has come back from, you know, Jalalabad or some really important story. And I'm super excited. I'm writing like on 3x5 cards, all kinds of jokes. And I'm always trying to throw him off his game and all that stuff. And you know that every year I get fired. Oh yeah, every year I do the show and then they fire me and then, so I don't know if I'm doing it next year. Believe me, they will ask me maybe December 28th. Maybe. But I can't help it. I love it and I love him. And so I signed something this year that I've never done, but I would only do it for him because I love him so much, which is I signed something saying that if I swore again, I would, number one, not get paid. And you know, my inner Susie Orman, I could hear her, "Girlfriend, you are not to swear and not get your check this year, girlfriend. You are denied." I mean, so, you know, I had that voice. And then this year they had a new caveat saying that if I swore, not only would they not pay me, they were going to actually yank me from the air live like a hook in vaudeville. Oh yeah, so you would just come back from commercial and it would just be Anderson squinting. in a Ralph Lauren suit. All right, so what I learned was that if I come up with an idea that I feel could be what I call a water cooler moment, because, you know, it really is just the two of us shooting the breeze for 90 minutes. So we can't really compete with like the big production shows and stuff. So I'm always trying to think of something that people can be talking about. So here's my genius idea. Okay, do you guys know what making it rain is? Okay, so the rappers do it, like Lil Wayne does it when he's not in prison. And what happens is, the rappers do it, and they have a fan on stage, and they have a bunch of cash, and they go, make it rain, and they go like that, and then cash goes out, and everybody's super excited. So I thought it would be really fun to, as soon as the broadcast started, that Anderson and I would make it rain over Times Square. Never been done, and you know Seacrest doesn't have the balls. She's not gonna think of that. And so... we kind of made up. We're like besties now. We get mani-pedis together. All right, so sure enough, I have Tiffany go to the bank and get $1,500 in singles. And I put it in like an oversized purse, and I'm masking it as a purse, because even I know not to go to Times Square with like a steel suitcase. So it's about it's about 2 minutes until we're about to go live globally on the air. And I actually take it as a compliment when Anderson says out of all the places he travels in the world and all the difficult stories he does, he never sweats as much as New Year's Eve with me. So you're welcome, Mr. C. Anyway, so we go up onto the riser, and Anderson is there, and there's an NYPD cop there, and I've got my bag full of money, but I don't want to tell him. And so, like an idiot, I decide to like double check it just once to see, make sure the cash is there. So I opened it a little bit, forgetting he's a journalist who misses nothing, and so his steely blue eyes, boom, zoom in on it, and I open it this much, and he goes, "What are you doing?" So now it's 90 seconds until we're live, and I'm not gonna lie to the guy, so I just panic, and I was like, and then I realize I gotta sell it. I gotta sell it like I'm selling a freaking used car. So I go, it's cash, because guess what? When the show starts, you and I are gonna make it rain, who's in? And he goes, let me get this straight. There are 500,000 people here drunk in Times Square. We're on risers that are very, very shaky, and you want to throw cash into the crowd during a recession. And I'm all, yeah, let's go. Woo! Make it rain. All right. The color drained out of his skin. His gray hair turned brown for an instant. And then the cop next to him just looks at me and goes, "Kath?" So we didn't get to make it rain, and I'm probably canned again. But, you know, next year maybe I'll get him to, like, I don't know, pee on everybody. How do I do that without telling him? I'll figure it out. Okay. Please tell me I'm not the only person who's seen My Strange Addiction. Really? Okay. All right. This is one of these shows that you watch if you're feeling like maybe you're having like a nutty day, or you know, you feel like you just don't have a tight grasp on life. You watch My Strange Addiction and you will feel like the healthiest psychotherapist ever. Yeah, all right, so this is a show that deals with addictions I've never even heard of. So first of all, there's the lady who eats toilet paper, and her favorite kind is two-ply. Two-ply. Because naturally, you know, twice as much for your meal. It is so magical. So they show her driving around, and she's got her roll of toilet paper, and she's looking all shifty. Yeah, because she doesn't want to scare people, and she takes it off, and she separates the plies, and then she takes it off in strips and just chews on it. And by the way, can you imagine being at a stop sign and seeing that? And by the way, she's been doing it for 20 years. How the hell is she still alive? Suzanne Summers is mad at me when I have a diet soda, and this bitch is eating toilet paper for 20 years? And the best part is, what I love about it, it's so gratifying, is that on My Strange Addiction, no one ever gets better. Oh, What about the lady who eats her sofa? Okay. This is so sick. So she watches TV and she's all, and no throw pillow is safe. It is a freaking fantastic show. It just makes you feel better about yourself. Oh, no. Did you see the lady who eats Comet? Okay, so I'm not making this up. All right, so there's a lady who eats Comet. Why? Because it makes her feel clean. Yeah, you're the one who's crazy. And so the best part is there's always a great moment where the psychiatrist comes and talks to the person about why this habit is detrimental to them. And the great part is they're always shocked by that. So there's a lady eating Comet, and the doctor's like, well, you're basically gutting your entire body and all your organs. And she's like, what? You're nuts. This is peppermint. He's freaking scary. I mean, he really is, when he's not winning, he's scary. Guess who I ran into last week at a restaurant? Kirstie Alley. All right, so I love Kirstie Alley for all the obvious reasons. You get it. All right, so, no, I love anybody who just, how shall I say, appears to be cuckoo. I'm fascinated by Kirstie Alley for all the normal reasons. My favorite is that she took millions of dollars from Jenny Craig and then gained the weight back. That's funny. I mean, that's just funny no matter how you slice it. So sure enough, you know, she goes on Dancing with the Stars, and I think she actually did really well. I mean, I think she's a very good dancer, and she looks beautiful, so good for her. She doesn't care for me, but I don't need someone to like me for me to like them, so I still like her anyway. And of course, I'm fascinated by all Scientologists, and you know, I don't know if she trained for Dancing with the Stars like on Pluto, or just ran around the rings of Saturn until she got into better shape. But the point is, she obviously looks much better now and stuff. So sure enough, last week, I go to this famous restaurant in Beverly Hills called Mr. Chow's. And that's where all the paparazzi go, and that's why I went. So I walk in and all the paparazzi are there and they take my picture, but there's too many of them. So I go, who's really here? And they're like, oh, it's for you, Kath. And I was like, yeah, cut the shit. So I walk in, and there's George Clooney at this table. I know, big time, big time. And then there was what I lovingly refer to as the Scientology mafia table. So it was Kirstie Alley and her minions, and then Kelly Preston. Thank you for getting that. Thank you. All right, so you know the backstory on Kelly Preston, right? Because she's now currently married, of course, to John Travolta, which we all know, who was not at the restaurant with her because he probably was, you know, somewhere else. So anyway, but the story is, do you know who she dated 20 years ago? Charlie Sheen. Winning. All right. So what I thought was interesting is all these years have passed. She's married to this, you know, global superstar, movie star, and yet she goes to, and this alone to me is funny, she goes to the opening of Kirstie Alley's store where she's selling her diet drink. I'm gonna just let that one sit there for a second. Okay, so, and then they interview Kelly Preston on the red carpet, and then she says, Charlie Sheen is a great man. Now, I don't know if he has pictures of her a donkey or what, but why would you ever say Charlie Sheen is a great man? Oh no, I think he's freaking scary. I mean, he really is, when he's not winning, he's scary. Hashtag. So, all right, so obviously you're watching Jersey Shore. Come on. Don't act like you're not. All right, so I've got a new little spin for you, because here's what I'm into even more than the show. Because, you know, they're in Italy and all that stuff. But what I'm into even more is the commercial with Ronnie for the diet pill. I'm Ronnie. It's me, Ronnie. All right. I don't know if he's illiterate or what, but what's and by the way, let me just say, I think Ronnie's a little, how shall I say, tightly wound. Careful, ladies. All right, so the commercial is for some diet pill. I don't know the name of it. I don't give a shit. The point is, Ronnie is like, he's in front of like some sort of tarp with the name of the product, and he's got his sunglasses on like he's, you know, going to the freaking Golden Globes. And he just walks in this fashion. I'm Ronnie. And the best part is, he can't even do any dialogue, and so they have to have the other people do the heavy lifting of the commercial. So then they'll cut away to some Jersey girl in a bikini. Ronnie, I gotta ask you a question. I'm trying to take off the pounds, and I'm having trouble. How do you do it? I'm Ronnie. And that's all. That's all he says. So great. All right, so now should we talk a little Real Housewives? Oh my God, you guys are the best. All right, so first of all, of course, I love them all. I love every city. I watch every city. But I have to tell you, I have a favorite. It's hard for me to choose a favorite, but mine would be from Atlanta, and her name is Phaedra. Really? Okay, so here's the deal. Now, I kind of feel like I helped discover Phaedra because I recall a cameo that she made on another show called Being Bobby Brown. Perhaps you remember that show, which I still maintain is the greatest show in the history of all of television and film combined. You want it? Bobby! Sister love. All right, so there was an episode of Being Bobby Brown, and besides it being an episode, it was very, very newsworthy. It was one of the times that Bobby was in court, which he is wont to do, and he had probably burned through enough money to have used the more established attorneys. So his new attorney was Phaedra, and when I heard her say, and this was just a teeny part of Being Bobby Brown, you know, however many years ago, when I heard her say, "Your Honor, my client be innocent." I fell in love. So then when I heard that Bravo signed her up for Real Housewives, I was like, score. But the great thing is, I don't know how she's an attorney. I'm gonna need to see documentation. That's all. I'm sorry. But when she does the sit-down interviews, the stuff that comes out of her mouth is so genius. At one point, she said, because you know she was very pregnant for season 1, and the big scandal was she was saying she was 7 months along, but clearly she was 9 months along, but didn't want to admit that she had had sex with the husband, ex-con, who had served 6 years in prison, and I guess didn't want to admit that she had had sex before marriage because her whole thing is that she's an old-fashioned Southern lady. But the great thing about it is that when she can't find a word or something, she always falls back on her old-fashioned Southern lady upbringing. And so she was sitting there pregnant, and she said, I don't know, I don't even know if I have that. What's that new word they use now? Because when she can't find a word, she acts like it's a newfangled word that the kids are using. What's that word they use now? Maternal instinct? All right. So there's a great scene where she and the husband, Apollo, who, by the way, I think is hot. So I don't, right? I don't know what he did. I don't really care. But you know, so she's with him, and they're having the kid together. And then remember that scene where they were having some sort of fakakta marriage counseling? They were sitting down, and then Phaedra was saying, I'm an old-fashioned Southern lady, and if I have to, if this baby gets out of line, I will whoop this baby. You're gonna whoop a baby? Like, what year is this, honey? All right, So anyway, then the ex-con badass husband Apollo says, hold on, I was in prison for 6 years, and what I can tell you about being in a culture of violence for 6 years is that violence begets violence. We are not whooping a baby. And then Phaedra gets all thrown, and she just goes, the Lord work. And I don't know what that means, I don't care. So whenever she gets thrown, she just goes, the Lord work. So then it's time for her to give birth, and then they send poor Candy, who's kind of the hero of the series. So, and I love Candy, so poor Candy has to do the dirty work of the other ones. And so Phaedra's in the birthing bed, or whatever the hell it's called, and then Candy says, you know, the other girls were sort of questioning whether or not you're 7 months along, because it really, you know, it looks like you're full term. And then the doctor is there, and he hasn't been on the show before, and he starts laughing, and he goes, no, she's 9 months along. And then, and Phaedra goes, that's your theory. To which I say, the Lord work. All right, and then I love the Lord. Okay, then the other one was she has the kid. The kid is beautiful and fine and perfect. And then she's got the kid at home. And then of course her gay Dwight comes over. Yes, and you know Dwight, he likes to stir the pot. Stir the pot. So he comes over, she's got the baby, everything's going fine. And then he starts saying that the other ladies are all talking smack about her. And then Phaedra said this line that I will put on a t-shirt, which was, why they gotta be all up in my Kool-Aid? Tell you about the backstage at Glee. All right, let me tell you about backstage at Glee. Yeah, I was on Glee. Yeah. All right. So normally my mother is of course furious with me because I make fun of all the people she loves. I make fun of Fox News and her boyfriend Bill O'Reilly and why can't I be blah blah. All right, so sure enough, I get this little part on Glee, and so they had a lot of extras, right? So they had to pay people to be in the audience and sign confidentiality so they wouldn't give away who won and all that stuff. Except that there was a brand new fresh face in the pool of extras named Maggie Griffin. So we're there, and my mom is being an extra and being a good extra and dazzled by everyone singing and dancing and everything. And then, sure enough, Jane Lynch comes up to me, and I'm with my mom, and she says, well, you're not going to believe who's making a set visit today. And I said, who? And she goes, Bill O'Reilly. I do not care for Bill O'Reilly. I think he is a sham and a tool, but there you go. But my mom loves him, and I can't help it. Old people love their Fox News. What are you gonna do? So I said, okay, Mom, and this was hard. I was like, okay, I gotta tell you something. Turns out that Bill O'Reilly is here visiting. I didn't finish the sentence, and her first response was, oh, Jesus, how's my hair? Like it's a date. So my mom thinks she's on a date now with Bill O'Reilly. What a lucky, lucky lady. Anyway, so I said, well, Mom, here's the, the bad news is O'Reilly's up in the balcony, and it's an older theater, and they don't have an elevator. So I don't know how you're going to, my mom hasn't done stairs in a long time. I hadn't even finished the sentence. And my mom, who has not walked upstairs in 10 years, she was like Flojo at the Olympics when the gun went off. I mean, miraculous recovery. She like chucked the walker. All right, so I take her up there, and this was just the tool move that he pulled. So he's standing there and he's talking to someone, and I'm standing there with my mom, and I waited for a second, and then I said, excuse me, nothing. Waiting, and there, she's standing there, right? So I said, pardon me, nothing, and finally I just go, she's 90. So he turned around, and Jane Lynch is there with the camera, ready to go. And my mom turns into freaking Tammy in The Bachelor. Like, I thought she was gonna fall into his arms and swoon. I didn't know what the hell she was gonna do. And I said, well, my mom wants a picture with you. And then my mom starts to apologize. I'm sorry about what Kathleen says about you. That's terrible. I think you're a wonderful American, and you're very handsome in person. Oh, you're real tall and strapping. You're a big guy, Bill. I should call you Big Bill. I'm like, oh. So she got me. She got me back. Anyway, so I took the most ridiculous picture with my mother and Bill O'Reilly, which I will never show you because it is shame-based. It is shame. No, I will never. Because my mom is like this. O'Reilly's kind of standing there, and granted, this is not my proudest moment and not very mature, but I was standing there next to him going like this. And you will never see it. All right. Goes, do you remember the lady at the end? And I was like, excuse me, you mean the deaf chick who got so f***ed up that she passed out right on the floor? There's a fight going on? What happened? Is it a townie versus a toonie? Is it Ben Affleck? I'm in Boston now. Wow. That was exciting. Okay, so when I was doing shows in New York, I got a really interesting request that Lady Gaga's mom and dad wanted to come backstage and meet me. So, of course, being a gay man, of course, I love Lady Gaga. You know, of course, we were born this way. I get it. I love her. And so I was very touched by that. So they came backstage, and they were really nice, and her mom is really pretty. And then her mom said to me, you know, I sat a row behind you at Gaga's show in D.C., but I didn't have the nerve to say hi. And I said, oh, my gosh, you should have, of course. And then I said, do you remember who was in the row in front of me? And she goes, oh, yes. So we go, and I thought they were great seats. They were just kind of off to the side, like risers, right? And I look in the pit, and I see a couple of interpreters for the deaf. And I've done many shows with interpreters, and usually they stand over there, and I always with them, and I always go like, fisting, me up the ass, pussy, pussy, pussy. And they have to like do this, and it's just, you know, it's terrible. It's what I call an icebreaker. And so I felt like I had hit the jackpot, right? Okay, so here's what I did not anticipate, but was delighted to see. They partied harder than anyone in the whole place. I mean, anyone. So they're drinking and drinking and drinking, and I'm watching them as much as I'm watching the concert. And then Gaga's mom goes, do you remember the lady at the end? And I was like, excuse me, you mean the deaf chick who got so up that she passed out right on the floor? Girl down. Girl down. A deaf girl down? Thank you. You have been so